having problems tonight?
Who?
Kevin Smith.
What did Kevin Smith do?
Oh, Kevin Smith is having big problems. I was kept being caught up on this
Love
right
Kevin Smith.
right before we went out. Well, you love Kevin Smith. You must not love He-Man.
I don't care much for He-Man.
First of all, I don't want any smoke with the He-Man fans. I didn't know there were so many big He-Man fans. I mean, I knew there were He-Man fans, but like that really clung on to this universe. Look, man, we all got our thing. I like watching wrestling. I go crazy about, the way wrestling is treated. So if you love He-Man, God bless you. But, it's Comic-Con weekend. Hot dog. I don't know if you're excited. Comic-Con weekend.
I almost forgot about that.
Mattel
The
just
San Diego Comic-Con.
Hell yeah, Mattel just dropped new WWE product. Crazy times, crazy times. But part of this is that Kevin Smith, in what some people were skeptical about, Kevin Smith got the rights to create a new Masters of the Universe series for Netflix, a new He-Man cartoon. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And he said it's going to be a continuation. It's going to pick up where the story left off. Now, He-Man, obviously not your thing, Hot Dog. You did not grow up in the 80s. But for those of us that did,
Snarf.
I mean, you're like the Snarf. You're like the Snarf of Sam Roberts now. That's kind of your spot, which I hope you take that as a compliment.
I don't, but
okay, all right, that's fine too. So, I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, into the 90s, whatever, and He-Man did not play a significant role in your childhood, I don't know what you were doing. If you didn't have He-Man toys growing up, you weren't shit. He-Man, you had, it was like He-Man, Thundercats, Ninja Turtles. Boom, boom, boom. If you didn't have any of those three, I didn't want anything to do with you. He-Man was very, very important. And so, decades ago, this cartoon series ends. And Kevin Smith, it's announced that is going to be at the helm of creating this new Masters of the Universe series for Netflix that dropped today, I think, or last night, or whenever it was. And Kevin, the controversy started a couple weeks or a couple months back when there were reports that this He-Man series would not be about He-Man at all, that He-Man would take on a very secondary role, and that it would instead be about Teela. Not Tila Tequila, Hot Dog. Do you know who Teela is?
I never heard of it.
Teela is a lady character in He-Man. So let me explain.
Boo.
Well, that's the issue. That's the issue. See, Teela is one of the lady characters, and again, I'm not claiming to know anything about He-Man or the whole universe of the Masters of the Universe. So that's not what this is about. So if you came on here looking for a He-Man expert, don't be flaming me in the comments. Or don't be ratioing me saying this guy don't know shit about He-Man. I'm not claiming to know shit about He-Man. I'm just analyzing this controversy. That's all I'm doing.
Just going to comment underneath you, ratioed, and it's going to be a lot more thumbs up than the actual video.
Yeah. I'm not trying to be in that universe, okay? So, basically, Teela was this character in the original Masters of the Universe series. She was on every single episode, but she was the only person that did not know that Prince Adam was secretly He-Man. See, Prince Adam, to my understanding, gets the power sword and becomes He-Man. Most people were aware of this, to my understanding. Teela, not aware of this at all. So a report comes out that Kevin Smith is going to make this show about Teela. It's going to be very female-oriented, and it's not going to be about He-Man and Skeletor at all. Because let's be honest, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that for the most part, the He-Man fans are looking to see He-Man and Skeletor duke it out. We want Dolph Lundgren and Skeletor duking it out. That's what the whole show is about. You don't have to know anything about He-Man to know it's He-Man and it's Skeletor. Now, apparently, the He-Man fans are very, very mad because they're saying, you know what Kevin Smith did, Hot Dog?
What would Kevin Smith do?
Lied. He lied. They're saying he lied. You look, the He-Man show comes out on Netflix, right? The critics are all saying incredible. One of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. As a matter of fact, we have it right here on Rotten Tomatoes. 94% from the critics. But speaking of getting ratioed, something strange happened.
Oh boy, look at that. Look at that sucker next to it.
26% audience score. I mean, I've seen drastic differences, but never to this extent. 94% of the critics liked it. 26% of the audience liked it. And that, and of course, there's a campaign around that.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It sounds like a campaign.
Right. But it still is worth at least talking about, because apparently what happens in this show, spoiler alert, is that he kills He-Man right away. He-Man dies on the show.
Good.
Yeah. And then apparently he comes back and then gets killed again. He actually gets killed twice on the show. And, so like the sword breaks, I guess. The power sword, it breaks. And He-Man dies. But you know who grabs the other half of the power sword and gets He-Man powers?
Teela?
Yep.
The woman?
Yeah, it's Teela.
The woman.
It's Teela, the woman. She apparently has a girlfriend on it. She gets a more masculine appearance, And this is what this is what you're saying.
Well. Look who's catering to the woke crowd.
That's what the He-Man fans were saying. Hot dog. I was watching all these YouTube videos about it. The He-Man fans got real pissed. You know what they said Kevin Smith was? They said he was a Hollywood shill.
It's He-Man, not She-Man.
They didn't exactly say that, but now that they've heard that, they're probably like, yeah, that sounds about right. See, Kevin Smith is justifying it, saying, listen, this is the story here. Teela is the only character. She was around Prince Adam all the time. She was the only character that didn't know that Prince Adam became He-Man. And so now it's like, of course, it gets interesting that she didn't even know this was going on, and now she's becoming the next He-Man. And people are like, fuck that. We want He-Man and we want Skeletor. We're not here for Teela. It's not the Teela show. And most importantly, according to them, they're saying, Kevin Smith, you told us this wasn't going to be the Teela show, and it is the Teela show. Now, I don't even know if it is the Teela show, because I haven't watched episode 1, because I'm not sitting around watching He-Man cartoons. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm watching other stuff instead. I'm watching Fear Street. I'm watching my horror movies. I'm watching I Think You Should Leave, that sketch show. Hilarious. But I haven't been watching the new He-Man shows, so I don't know if they have a point or not, and I don't know enough about the original He-Man universe to know if they have a point or not. But what you're looking at is some of the He-Man hardcore saying we were lied to, and this show should be about He-Man, and you are catering to the woke Hollywood culture, and you're a Hollywood shill, and I don't know who told you to do this. But on the other side,
all correct.
On the other side, people against them are saying a bunch of He-Man bros are just pissed at Kevin Smith. This is, cancel culture run amok, wokeness run amok stuff that, you got the He-Man bros all mad. And then the He-Man bros are mad that they're being called He-Man bros and being like, no, I was lied to. And so it's a very big controversy, Hot Dog.
I can see that being, if it's something that I'm deeply involved in, like one of those shows or whatnot, or a game, if I'm being marketed something and it becomes something completely else because on the whim of one person
they
who decided to take the story.
And they say, fuck the whole thing up, they said. But you know what Kevin Smith said? He said, this is going to be the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life. This is awesome. And
I don't know, man. It sounds like a lot of shows that had gone down the drain because people decided to just go somewhere completely left field.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't do anything to the original He-Man series. Like, it doesn't screw up the original at all. Just watch the original then.
But it's canon now. It's a continuation, right? It's canon.
People want my old shit, buy my old album. You see? You know who said that?
No.
Young Hova the God.
No.
Because you're thinking you're thinking about like Final Fantasy. If they screwed up your Final Fantasy characters, you'd be part of you would be part of the Final Fantasy bros that got all pissed off about woke culture screwing up your Final Fantasy, right?
Run amok, yeah.
You would, right? You'd be like,
They
no,
got rid of Cloud and they put Tifa. No.
no. Where does it end? Where does it end?
I was about that life when it came to people going like, "Oh, should James Bond to 007 be a woman?" I said, "No, James Bond is a man."
Why can't James Bond be a woman?
Because that's not how the story goes, Sam.
What story? It's
Make your own 007. Make your own 007 and name it something else.
There's been like 19
James
different
Bond is
007. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got the.
they've all been a man.
It's got the
who
dumbest
seduces
timeline ever.
women.
You don't even know half the time if you're watching a remake or a sequel. You have no idea.
But there are constants to this story.
Only the
He's
one.
Suave. He's smooth. He's a ladies' man. Man.
There's never been a gay James Bond,
No.
and you don't think that's a problem?
If he was still, if he could,
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about that, hot dog? How do you feel about a gay James Bond?
if he was, no, he would have to be bi. he needs to, he needs to seduce women. That's part of the charm.
Yeah, but what if he seduced the women, and then when the women were about to like make out with him, he's like, "Nah, it's not my thing."
No, it has to be okay. All right, let me correct that. Then
Okay.
James Bond has to be a straight male.
You need a white cis James
Cis-
Bond. Does he have to be white?
No, he doesn't have to be white. He
Have-
doesn't have to be white.
Wait. Has there ever been a non-white James Bond?
No, but I really wanted Idris Elba to be the next James Bond. He
Well,
would've
then
been
how
very
come-
awesome.
I mean, I feel like I don't know that your argument is very logical.
No, it makes sense. No, it makes sense.
I mean,
because
wouldn't
being a ladies' man is a big character trait. Being white isn't a big character trait.
well, okay, when you
Being
say
British is, he has to be British.
ladies man, okay, so he could be okay, so British because he's got to have the accent. You're saying?
And he works for MI6.
I
He's
see.
a British secret
see.
spy.
I see. Okay, all right. So, what if he's? I mean, does he have to hook up? Like, can't he just be smooth? Like, why does
Mm.
what does being a ladies' man have to do with being James Bond? And again, I don't I don't watch James Bond
well,
movies, so
His origin story was he fell in love with this lady Vesper Berlin, and she betrayed him, and then that's how he became cold-hearted towards women. So he uses them, and he's misogynistic and all that stuff. That's why.
yeah. But what if you
that's
found
in
out the
his
reason he
character.
was cold-hearted and misogynistic is because he's gay?
Okay, well, let me think that through.
Like, what if you found out this whole time, like, he didn't even, like, he was so deep in the closet that he'd been lying to himself, and most of his misogyny and cold-heartedness was actually self-hatred?
Oh, Sam, you're so woke. Stop it. with
Well, I
this
mean, that's a
woke
real thing that
religious
happens.
cuck. Yeah, well, he likes to bang women, Sam.
So you're pissed at Kevin Smith then?
Yeah, I get it. And not because of the woke stuff. Stop changing things around. Make your own show. How hard is that? Stop trying to ride on the coattails of a show that's already been, developed and it's already had this background for decades and decades. Make your own show.
But if you're continuing the story, why would you just make the same story?
Well, if you're continuing the story, you also can't just like say fuck it to everything else that happened and be like, well, we're gonna kill him the first episode in.
People don't die?
He could die, but not on the first episode. That's a big FU to everyone.
So it's okay if it's on the second episode?
Maybe like the season finale, bro.
And then can Tila take over? Or no?
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, it
I'm just telling you how I feel.
feels a little bit like you're clinging on to these hyper-masculine, toxic role models.
It could be the same thing for any women's show,
Like what?
I don't watch them, but
Oh, of
it could
course
be the
not,
same-
bro. Well, like, yeah, okay.
Sex in the City reboot's happening, right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, you can't pull off all four characters. and
Okay.
bring-
Okay. All right. I'm following you now. Okay. So let's say like, okay. So they're like, we're going to do a new Sex in the City series. And on episode
Right.
1, all 4 Sex in the Cities get killed in a bus crash. Or actually, no, Kim Cattrall's already dead. So the other 3 Sex in the Cities get killed in a bus crash. And then
now
they,
we're gonna bring in Chris Hemsworth and
Or they could just-
a
what
lot
if
of
they-
other sexy dudes.
but that's not, you think Chris Hemsworth's a sexy dude?
He's a sexy dude.
He
He's not a
is.
sexy dude.
He is. No, he's definitely a sexy dude, actually. But
Okay.
But they could, so yeah, because then they would, if they just made it about Mr. Big, right? Sarah Jessica
Mm-hmm.
Parker's boyfriend, Mr. Big, on that show. If they just made it about
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Big, that would probably piss off the Sex and the City fans. They'd be like, "We're here to watch the Sex and the City gals."
Right. Exactly.
Okay, okay. I would love to get Kevin Smith's take on this. Like, it is tough to kill He-Man off of Masters of the Universe.
It's a ballsy move.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like the He-Man fans would probably be able to argue better if, like, the arguments weren't centered around, like, the politics of it. You know, because
Well, they're very emotional right now.
I got you. Because you would be emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, Kevin Smith is feeling it. Again, I don't really know if it's all that appropriate, but it could be. It could be. I know when they screw around with my wrestling storylines, I'm like, the fuck are you doing? But then again, they kind of do that all the time, don't they?
Yeah. It's on course.
Yeah. 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 So, like, they said that we heard that Skeletor and He-Man were going to be sidelined. And Kevin Smith said that those characters are not going to be sidelined. They're absolutely not going to be sidelined. And then people watched it and they saw it be sidelined. So now they're like, we can't support this show. We have to let the world know. I'm telling you, watch these videos on YouTube. They're amazing. People are so pissed. So pissed about what Kevin Smith did.
Subverting expectations.
Yeah, that is dangerous when because the chickens are going to come home to roost. You can't have people expect something and then not pay off.
Right.
Like, you can't be like, look at this James Bond movie. He's going to hook up with all these chicks, and then you find out about my theory about the self-hatred. But I think that that's probably true with James Bond.
Coming in the theater, all in the dark. What the fuck? He's making out with another dude.
You'd be pissed, huh?
I'll stay until the end, but
But he was making out with a dude, you'd be pissed?
yeah, I'd be like, what? All right, let's see where this goes.
I mean, representation's important, hot dog.
But some things have to stay the same.
Oh, really? Look at you. Look at you, hot dog. Look at you.
Make your own thing.
Make your own thing. Like when they come out with a Breaking Bad movie after the fact, and they're like, by the way, Jesse Pinkman all of a sudden is just the shit. He knows how to do everything now. He was terrible with the whole series, but now he knows how to do everything.
Here's this slow-mo shot of a building exploding behind them and then not turning around.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I guess that's okay because the series creator did it. So what are you going to argue with the series creator? Are you going to sit there and be like, that never would have happened? And the series creator is like, it definitely happened. I created the first part, and this is the second part I created.
Yeah. Like when the Star Wars guy, what's his name again?
George Lucas?
Yeah, when he decides to fuck up his franchise, what are you going to do? It's his franchise.
That's true, but people do say that George Lucas, the man who created Star Wars, is the only guy who's fucked up Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's his.
So if you want to fuck it up, you can, right? So you're saying Kevin Smith can't take it over and fuck it up?
Right.
Right. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I'd love to hear that if He-Man fans are like, if there are any He-Man fans that are like, no, it's not that big a deal. It's okay. But maybe if they're saying that, maybe they're not the biggest He-Man fans. Maybe they're just not that passionate. I don't know, but it's stressful, man. I would have hoped that of all things, He-Man would be what people were not stressed out about, but it's a stressful thing. You can't fuck around with a fan base like that. That's one thing.
Nope.
You can't take a fan base for granted. When something you have to cater to the hardcores. When you take over something like that, whether it's anything, whether it's your James Bond movies, whether it's He-Man, whether it's any of those things, because it's the mainstream isn't interested in a He-Man reboot. The hardcores are interested in the He-Man reboot. So it's like if you gotta cater to the hardcores. Like,
and the hardcores are going to be your best people marketing that stuff. You make them happy, they're going to tell everybody, hey, check this sucker out.
Unless you do a full-on reboot, not a continuation. Because the other question is, well, who is this version of He-Man for? Because, like, I've seen all these reviews for Space Jam. Like, I saw Skip Bayless being like, Oh, I thought the Space Jam movie was very boring. And I was like, yeah, because you're not 11. What are you talking about, Skip Bayless? You're an adult. You don't even have children. Why are you watching Space Jam? It's LeBron James and the Looney Tunes characters. There's no reason for
He's
you to
just
be.
going to the movie theater and just one ticket for Space Jam, please.
Yeah, you should be arrested. You should absolutely be at least put on a watch list or something like that. You have no place doing that. You know. So maybe this. Although you think when Kevin Smith, who is known for his place in geek culture, takes it over, that it's not just going to be for kids. It is going to be for the He-Man geeks. That's right.
If he's an actual fan, like he says
He says he is. He's very excited about this whole thing.
then it's a very surprising move that he's done.
This is why he's going back to Clerks 3. Because it's like,
Good.
they fuck with him. Every time he does anything that's out of his wheelhouse, he gets fucked with. So, all right, fine. I'll do another Clerks movie, and then everybody will be happy. Look, I'm always going to have... Yeah, I'm happy about Clerks 3. I'm always going to be at least partially on Kevin Smith's side. You know, talking about growing up, I mean, when Kevin Smith started with Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, those movies were... they created a generation. Kevin Smith was people talk about Tarantino and Kevin Smith differently, but there was a period of time where Kevin Smith was treated like the Tarantino of comedy. Like when this indie boom started in the mid to late 90s, Kevin Smith was extremely important. Kevin Smith influenced a generation of filmmakers who just wanted to get out there and do it. Like the DIY people that just wanted to get out there and make a film. Kevin Smith, the reason Clerks is in black and white is because black and white film was cheaper than colored film. It's not a stylistic choice.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, because he went out there and made his own movie. And so, you know, I'll never have anything but love in my heart for Kevin Smith. But, you know, at the same time, as a hardcore wrestling guy, when I see a hardcore fan base rebelling against something, I always say that where there's smoke, there could be fire.
Or they're a bunch of goddamn marks.
Or there could be a bunch of marks. I don't listen to the marks. That's for sure. A lot of these jabroni marks work themselves into a shoot until they don't know that they're shooting or working anymore, brother. HH.
Kevin Smith is writing all this and going, that's such good shit.